Long ball number 3 here on Wednesday, April 16th. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has been stateside, very busy visiting a lot of different cities that are going to be hosting the big tournaments coming up. And he himself confirmed for the first time, it's been widely speculated that a playoff between LAFC and Club América could determine the last spot for the Club World Cup. There is some arbitration. Club Leon kicked out for the multi-club ownership rules, which is definitely selective use of that rule when you consider how Major League Soccer and other teams are put together that are also included in this tournament, the Club World Cup. That's would you say the reception has been tepid so far for the Club World Cup?
Tepid. I think it's hard to know. I mean, he's doing this tour. In fact, he said among his other quotes was, somebody said, "Why are you doing this? Why are you going to all these cities?"
A reporter said that?
Yeah, somebody asked him, and he was like, "Well, I got to tell people what this thing is that we're doing, which is obviously the Club World Cup." And, we've had the Club World Cup before. We all dismissed it as kind of a sideshow. It wasn't important. It was always happening in Qatar or Japan or something. And not that those aren't viable places for tournaments. It's just it was always kind of in this weird winter area. Like they always played it in December, and it was always a distraction for the European clubs. And then like LAFC or somebody would be involved, or Seattle would be involved. I think Seattle went to Morocco actually and played in it. And, they would lose, and at least stateside would go, okay, ho-hum. And then Chelsea would win it, or Man City would win it, or Real Madrid would win it.
Or Liverpool.
And then we would make jokes about how that trophy is going to go in a storage closet somewhere and never be seen again. And this is Johnny and FIFA trying to make it into something much bigger. And that sell job is fully happening. So I do think it's that part of this is interesting. You may have seen Johnny in the Oval Office with President Trump. You may have seen the trophy. I believe I also caught this on Blue Sky. I believe there are photos well after Johnny's visit when Trump is doing other presidential like things, and the trophy for the Club World Cup is right there. It's just sitting right there. It's like, why is that there? Does Trump like it because it's shiny and gold? And it's just
yeah. He was like, "What, Johnny? Why don't you leave it there for the summer, and then you can come pick it up when the tournament comes back?"
Do they have to make another? Do they make more than one of these? Is what I'm asking, because it looks complicated. So, did they make more than one of these? And if not, is Trump going to give it back so they can actually give it to the winner of this tournament? Okay, let's get to the business at hand, though, because as you mentioned, the news is that Gianni Infantino spoke directly to the idea of a playoff between LAFC and Club América to take Club Leon's spot. I think we have already acknowledged that there is some selective application of the multi-club ownership rules, at least if you imagine that, technically speaking, MLS is one organization that owns all of its clubs, and then everybody that runs a club is just they have an operators agreement, and again, on paper, technically speaking. But this is more about the spirit of the thing. So and I'm not trying to defend FIFA too much, right? But
I don't know. That seems to be your thing, right?
Yeah, right. I'm a big FIFA defender. I have a FIFA flag flying outside my house right now. If you wanted to come by, you could see it.
We'll see.
I don't want to be accused of defending FIFA too much, but the idea here is you don't want clubs who has leadership that are making decisions for both or three or however many clubs there are, right? The idea is there should be a division between the people making decisions for one club and the people making decisions for another one. So when multi-club ownership comes into play, say for Red Bull or for City Football Group or whatever, what FIFA wants to know is, are you wholly independent? You may be owned by the same people technically, but are you wholly independent as an operation, or as independent as you can get on the football side? And again, I don't know why they were not satisfied with Grupo Pachuca, but they are satisfied with some other kinds of multi-club ownership. And UEFA has made decisions about this with City Football Group and with Red Bull in the past. I don't know why. But the bottom line right now is that Club Leon's got to go in front of the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And if they do not win, as Johnny says, if CAS confirms the decision of the appeals committee, FIFA's intention is to play a match, a playoff. He called it a playoff. Don't come at us with play-in. He called it a playoff. Between the team that lost the final of the CONCACAF Champions League LAFC, and the next team in their ranking, which is America. And as I said, I don't like any of the things surrounding the game. I don't like the vibes of this. I don't like FIFA basically saying, let's go grab a big chunk of money out of American soccer again or North American soccer again by playing this game. But and I appreciate that the CONCACAF Champions League in the past and the Champions Cup can be a big deal. But to me, this would be the biggest game between an MLS team and a Mexican club, maybe in the history of North American soccer. I do think it would be hyped up maybe to unbearable and annoying levels, but I also think it could be fun.
Mike in the chat had a note that's kind of middle ground, that he's excited for like the idea of it, like, you know, teams that don't really get to play against each other in a competitive format. And I feel that way to a degree. Like, it's great to see, you know, new matchups. And in like this essence of the Super League, if there was like a, you know, you win your domestic league, then you move to the European championships, you win the European championships, then you move to like a world level, like just, you know, adding another rung. The problem always was the, you know, these competitions, these elite ones weren't merit based. But what I was you know, trying to bring it back to was that the reaction of this and the people's appetite for this globally, you could probably summarize it in the television deal. I mean, broadcasters across the globe are paying huge amounts of sums for established leagues, brands, and tournaments, where one of the leading, I think it was ITV, I saw reported, actually put forward a $0 or £0 bid for the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
And then they had to essentially do the DAZN and get some funding from Saudi Arabia and stuff like that to even have one. So that kind of shows where the broad reaction is. But there are some elements. I'm sure once it comes time, there could be some fun games in here. But an odd tournament on our shores this summer.
Yeah, it's a tough sell, I guess, is the bottom line. Again, because it's new, because it's not something we're sort of used to, and new, what I mean in the expanded version of it, obviously. And look, I don't really begrudge anybody the right to sort of start something. I mean, especially in American soccer, and this is FIFA, so it's a little different, but American soccer, we're always starting from zero. We're always starting from scratch. We get very precious about, well, you had to hand out song sheets to the supporters group, like in Austin when they launched. And that was this big story. And it's like, well, how else are they going to get there? Like, I don't really have I really don't have a problem with that. But there are certainly things that feel like they're being jammed down our throats, but feel like they can't really fit into the schedule we already have, which is pushing players to the brink. But there's so many things about this that just feel unnecessary, right? And again, in a saturated market when it comes to club friendlies and European clubs coming over here and trying to get their piece of the American soccer pie. And I'm not trying to be too protectionist. I don't think this is a good moment in history to be overly protectionist. I don't think so.
Some say.
But I will say sometimes I do feel that thing of like, we need an opportunity to build our soccer without all these other outside entities coming in and trying to steal away attention and money. And it's really hard. It's really hard.
So we'll get confirmation in a few weeks per Johnny when the Court of Arbitration gives their final ruling, but we'll see what happens. But I think we have a feeling we have a play-off game in our midst. If you haven't already hit subscribe, please do so now. Morning YouTube, Morning Kick Around's YouTube channel crested 2,000 subscribers as we were sleeping last night. So if you haven't already and you're watching the show, hit subscribe now. Also, thank you to our brand new members. If you want to do that, that is available too. Memberships, exclusive perks, support the show. Nothing but win in there. You can follow us along on social media at X, Instagram, Blue Sky. Write us an email, morningkickaround@gmail.com. Find us on your favorite audio platform as a podcast, Morning Kick Around. Search on your podcast app, and then you can also
give us a review. Do a review on your podcast app, please.
Yeah, do that too, and you can also support at coffee.com/morningkickaround.